Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What did your crush do that completely ruined your infatuation for them? Turns out that if you want to be my lover, you should not get with my friends. I thought that's how we make it last forever, frowning face. Friendship never ends. We talked about exes. She mentioned how she should have cheated on him because he was boring to be with. Yeah, I'm out. Had a similar issue where a friend said she should have cheated on her boyfriend since he was so boring, and then complained that he liked a bunch of nerdy things like D&D, fantasy novels, and Star Wars. When she realized that those were all things I liked, she kept trying to insist that I was somehow different from him. I didn't see how, since he was also more popular and better looking than me. Pretty much ended our friendship too. I mean, if a friend doesn't even respect your hobbies and the things you enjoy, they never were a friend. This might sound dumb, but I was dating someone briefly several years ago that I had a red flag moment and walked away. We had only gone on a few dates and hadn't become intimate yet. He came to my house when I had just bought my first car and he sat on the hood. I asked him not to do that, and he just laughed. After a few more times asking and him blatantly ignoring me and mocking me, I dropped him. If he couldn't even manage respecting such a small boundary, I wasn't interested in giving him a chance not to respect others. Not a dumb move. Very smart. He also may have been testing to see if you'd let him push your boundaries. You probably dodged a bullet, imho. He told you who he was. You believed him. I have to say, if there's one thing I've learned in relationships, is that you really need to watch for people who push boundaries. It takes a few forms. Saying that even though they recognize the reasons for your boundary, they should be the exception. Because they're different. All that says to me is that they don't understand why I have that boundary and value their own wants, needs over my comfort. Slipping up and violating stated boundaries repeatedly. It shows they have poor impulse control or just really care more about their own needs. Pouting when you set boundaries, or punishing you by withholding affection. Blaming you for ruining the mood situation when you remind them that they're violating a previously voiced boundary. A lot of these are common in relationships when you're younger. But it's important to make the importance of respecting boundaries clear early on, both for yourself and your partner. If you get your boundaries trampled, you end up unhappy and resentful. When they get away with it, they learn that their behavior is acceptable if they can figure out a way to manipulate you into accepting it. That means they don't grow as a person. It does not sound dumb. It clearly showed you an entire aspect of his personality. You did well. You see, that's what I thought when it happened. But then I told my roommate at the time, and she thought that it was an overreaction. This girl I had a crush on early on in high school told me that she recently broke up with her last BF because his dad passed away suddenly. And, as she put it, wouldn't stop being depressed and a fucking crybaby about it. I didn't talk to her much again after she said that. Reminds me of a Yahoo Answers entry. A most likely teenage boy was complaining that his GF wouldn't stop crying about her recently deceased father. According to him, it was getting in the way of introducing anal in the relationship. Quote, I miss him so much, so no anal? I figured out he was dating me and two other girls and playing each other against us. One night at a party, one of the other girls wanted to fight. Honestly, I was drunk and tired and was getting in my friend's car to leave when she tried to start a fight with me over him. I just said, tell your friends we got in a fight and you won. Also, you can have him. I got in the car and went home to bed. That was the day I decided I would never fight over a guy. If he wants to be with me, he will be with me. Met a girl on a dating app. She wanted to meet at a club near me. I suggested coffee, but whatever. Show up and she's talking to a guy. Say hi. Learn she invited us both to see which she'd prefer and watch us compete. We both say, fuck that. I buy him a beer and we both go back over to my friends and hang out. Cool dude. This is a rom-com I'd actually watch. True hot girl shit. He littered. Just opened his car door and dropped out a McDonald's bag on the ground. That killed it right there. I used to work at McDonald's. Dunno why McDonald's specifically was a magnet for litter droppers. A bubble that makes it a lawless space for some reason. Maybe it's because it's a tycoon of a franchise. I remember once, an old woman who used to always try to tip me for being a good cleaner. A Subaru car was parked after the drive-thru and was full of chav-y dickheads. And each piece of litter they used, they'd throw it out of the car window onto the floor, near to the bins. She could see I was disgruntled by it, but powerless, and told me to not worry, and she went out there and I saw a bunch of finger points. And suddenly a bunch of guys got out of the car and picked up their litter as if it was their own. Grandmother telling them off. What a legend. This was like 20 years ago. I hope she's still alive and well. Edit. I googled for some nostalgia of precise location. Horse thing unrelated. Littering and treating waitstaff like shit are my two deal breakers. He was rude and dismissive to my little brother. I know little brothers can be annoying, but he, brother, 13, wasn't being nosy or disrespectful. He just wanted to know if my crush liked video games. I'm also really close to my siblings and wanted him to be included. The next boyfriend I had, now husband, spent hours teaching my little brother to play old school StarCraft, and to this day 6 years later they still play video games together at least once a week. Upgrades, people, edit, a word. Damn, that husband sounds like an awesome bloke, and the kind of person I wanna be. I have a crush on a girl who's got a younger brother. And I do kinda wanna have that kind of friendship with him.